Okay, hello. So I'm going to practice what I preach. I've been messing about trying to get this video right and doing different versions and overthinking it and hanging around. I'm just going to crack on with it and do it. So I'm going to talk about excessively reflecting and agonising over I could have done this, I could have done that, I wish I'd have done this, I wish I'd have done that. If you're overly self-critical like I am, or okay, I'll talk about myself. I am overly self-critical. I will often do things, then I will agonise over, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that, or I should have done this, if only this had happened, if only that hadn't happened. Giving myself a hard time, labouring the point, and kind of getting myself into a place where I'm then afraid to take a next move, then afraid to try again, afraid of failing, afraid of looking stupid. When I was in detox, I kept a diary this was back in 2008, so I went into detox in August 2008 in Manchester, and I stayed there for 28 days, and I kept a diary of that. I was being featured in a book that I've talked about in a previous video by Len Grant called Billy and Roland, and he asked me to keep a diary, and that seemed like a good idea to me anyway, because I liked writing. I used to do a lot of writing. I used to write what I considered to be poetry and all that kind of stuff. And this diary anyway, the point being, this diary was called The Pros and Cons of Thinking Too Much. That's how I wrote on the cover of the diary. That's the title of it, as it were. And I kept a diary. Almost every day I journaled how I felt and the feelings I was having and experiences I was having whilst I was in the detox. And I thought my problem was I thought too much, and I wasn't that far wrong, to be honest. And then when I was at uni will have been about 2012 probably, I was at university and I was introduced to this experiential learning model, which isn't my work. It's if you want to look it up, it's a guy called Kolb, K-O-L-B, and he wrote about it in 1980. So that's the reference to search for, Kolb 1980, Experiential Learning Theory. And I saw this and it resonated with me. I realised one of the things, I quite love these models that academic dudes come up with, because they give me a sense of order and they help me understand. I'm like, oh right, I didn't know, that's why I do that, or that's why that works. And I love all that stuff. I'm a bit of a theorist. And I think it has relevance. I think it has relevance whether you're in recovery. I think it has relevance whether you're not in recovery. I think it has relevance if you just think too much. So I'm going to talk about it now briefly anyway. So it features 4 stages in this version. The concrete experience, the thing that happened, the thing that you did or that you were involved in. Then it features reflective observation. So you have the concrete experience and then you move into reflective observation. That's just a posh way of saying, what the fuck happened? You know, have a think about what happened. From that point, when you thought, okay, what's just happened? You then move into abstract conceptualization, which I don't like this. This is way too confusing, this phrase, but what that means is that's kind of rationalising and thinking about, well, okay, why did it pan out the way it did? What A caused B, and how did that happen? Why did that happen? And then you would hopefully move from there into this part of the learning cycle, which is active experimentation, where you would start to think about, okay, that's what happened. This is why I think it went down the way it did. What am I going to do about it next time so that it doesn't go so badly? How can I do it differently? What can I work on? Which leads you then back into having another concrete learning experience and re-entering the cycle, and you go back into reflection. Then, did it work better this time? Was it a success? So on and so forth. Now, the reason I kind of relate this to recovery is that to progress in my recovery, I have had to take risks. I've had to do things I was afraid of doing. And sometimes when I've done those things I was afraid of doing, or sometimes when I've entered into challenging situations, I've come away from it and I've then overly reflected. I've had concrete experiences, and then I've spent ages and ages in reflective observation, which has resulted in something that I've heard called analysis paralysis, where you stay here. For us to grow, we have to pass through here, or for us to learn, we have to pass through here. But we then need to move into, okay, why? And okay, what am I going to do next? How am I going to do it differently so that it pans out better? And then experience, experiment, do that stuff. What we can do is we can get bogged down here. We can spend hours and hours, days and days, months and months, years and years, thinking, I wish that hadn't happened, I wish this had happened, I wish I'd not done this, oh, I'm such a dick for doing that. And we get stuck, we don't move forward. We start feeling sorry for ourselves. We get frozen, and we get frozen into a fear of moving forward, or a fear of trying again, and a fear of doing something new. And the nature of risks is that sometimes you're going to fall on your ass. Sometimes when you take risks, things aren't going to pan out. So you need to move on, you need to do something else, I need to do something else, I need to move on, I need to get past this agonising, and this, they're not dissimilar. What happened? Why did it happen? Oh, I'm such a bad person, blah, blah, blah. What we need to think about is, okay, what am I going to do next time? What am I going to do differently? If something's not working, I have to do something differently. What is that? What am I going to do? A cringeworthy saying that kind of ties in with it, or a cliche as it is move into the solution, get involved in the solution rather than worrying about what went wrong. Move into the solution, and that's what I'm talking about. What I intend to do is I intend to talk about some other models that I think relate, and apply them to my life and put them in kind of language that I feel is more digestible and understandable. I'm a nerd. I love this stuff. It makes me go, right, okay. I love understanding. I love theory. Sometimes too much. As well as theory, there needs to be action. Alright, thank you anyway. Hope the video is useful. I appreciate feedback. Unless it's mean trolling. At which point I'll probably just be mean back to you. Alright, cheers, bye.